Today on Investigate TV Plus, American children caught in a dangerous cycle.
Their father could be involved in gun violence. Now he handed it down to his son.
Kids carrying guns for protection, a decision that can lead to heartbreaking consequences.
We take an in-depth look at what's described as a national epidemic and a solution that transformed a courtroom into a beacon of hope.
Plus, a system in need of repair.
I had to wait a couple of months for just simple things.
A fix for a wheelchair can take months and cause emotional and even physical harm for the user. We investigate the delays and hear from advocates who convinced one state to take action.
And her blue heaven.
Did you see my octopus? What? He's hiding.
A grandmother inspired to bring light to her neighborhood during one of her darkest times.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
And that breaking news out of Richmond, where 2 teenagers have died in 2 separate shootings today.
We begin with breaking news tonight. A teenage boy from Roanoke was shot and killed early this morning.
A small Clay County community is rocked after a teen was killed in a drive-by shooting.
For any parent, the nightly headlines can be hard to hear. More and more children, someone's son or daughter dying as a result of gun violence. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. This crisis is so urgent that in June 2024, the U.S. Surgeon General declared firearm violence a public health crisis. Since 2020, guns have been the #1 cause of death among children and adolescents, surpassing car wrecks, drug overdoses, and cancer.
After witnessing the fallout of gun use in her courtroom, a judge in Michigan wanted to break the cycle and offer kids charged with nonviolent weapons crimes a chance at redemption.
Reporter Ann Emmerich takes an in-depth look at this first-of-its-kind program, and we are protecting the identity of the teen in this story because of his age.
The stakes are high.
All units in reference to the shooting.
In many communities, fistfighting is a thing of the past.
Maybe a large group of people that were firing shots at each other.
Kids who want to protect themselves now carry a gun.
I'm shot.
Can you explain to me what's going on?
I really think the main 3 things is music, drugs, and social media.
Social media, a place this teen, who agreed to talk with us anonymously, says is ripe with threats.
People just like to talk smack to each other and stuff like that, and it'll probably get the other person hot. Now they want to do something to them, and if they fight and lose, they're going to go get a gun and stuff. So it's like really a lose-lose, so people would rather carry a gun than taking the chances of fighting and stuff.
Why do people want to hurt each other?
Words, I don't know, like people can't just like shake words off or like rub words off, like they let words get to them.
What starts with words, in some cases ends with gunfire, and in too many cases, death. For Ingham County Judge Rosemarie Aquilina, it's unacceptable.
You do know better. I know you know better. We've had this conversation. Our community is filled with guns. I was seeing guns rolling around people's vans and 3-year-olds picking them up and shooting themselves in the leg. Children are dying right and left in our communities. All right, counsel, your appearances for the record.
Her new specialty weapons court is for kids who got caught with a weapon but didn't hurt anyone.
We have to flip the script. Somehow it got flipped that guns are powerful, more powerful than talking, more powerful than being free.
The court offers the child a place to feel safe and a place for the family to get help.
Things going okay at home with mom?
Yeah.
Are they better?
Yeah.
With both parents? They're learning to communicate, to resolve disputes without violence.
Assistant prosecuting attorney Megan Mertens issues the charges against the child, but she says in weapons court, she's not their enemy.
We're not only providing that education to the juvenile, but also to the parents or the guardians and the family about the importance of maintaining a safe home and not having those weapons.
Some of the kids who go through weapons court end up here, putting their hands to work fixing up homes. The Mikey 23 Foundation is named for a young man killed by gun violence in Lansing. His father has made it his mission to rehabilitate kids by rehabilitating homes.
They are helping me keep my son's Mikey's legacy alive. That's it. There you go.
Picking up a hammer instead of a gun.
So again, we want to be even.
These kids are rebuilding their lives.
They really want to be a part of something. And that's where the people get the misconception about gangs, right? So gangs are nothing but families, right? So they bring them in, they care about them, and and it's the camaraderie. And that's what we're trying to do at the Mikey 23. I'm gonna hire you guys, right? How much y'all gonna charge me?
$7,000.
A positive influence opening up life-changing conversations.
Oh, you gotta fix Brooklyn stuff? Their father could be involved in some type of gun violence. Now he handed it down to his son. And so it can be a generational thing, so that what we're trying to do at the Mikey Tree is trying to break that. Hit it on lumber and it pop. There you go, there you go.
Breaking the chain of violence.
You're doing so very well. Congratulations.
If they show up, do the work, and get through the weapons court program.
I like that you like Mikey 23.
These kids leave with a misdemeanor rather than a felony. And in many cases, a stronger family.
Now slap it on it. There you go. Simple, simple?
Yeah. I'm putting parents in counseling. So I have kids who are coming to court happy, finally. They're happy and feeling safe in their homes, which they haven't felt previously.
That's the story for the teen we met earlier in this story. He says he carried a gun to protect his family, and he got caught.
Everybody knew what was coming behind the gun and you getting caught with it and what you could do with it and stuff like that.
He says his days on the streets are over, thanks to weapons court. This has changed your life?
Yeah.
In a good way?
Yes, in a positive way, yeah, 100%.
Why is that?
It just made me see the bigger picture of life. Like, this is not the streets aren't the only thing to life.
It's important to note the court is for all weapons, whether it's a gun, a knife, or even a car. Right now, there are more than a dozen kids in the program, and that number is growing. And this is just the beginning. Judge Aquilina hopes to expand the weapons court to include other groups. In Lansing, Michigan, I'm Ann Emmerich.
They can save you from a bad hair day, but they could also save your skin. We take a look at specialized training for hairstylists, helping them spot one of the most common forms of cancer.
But first, the wheelchair repair system is broken.
Just imagine if you had to wait months for your automobile to be repaired.
And people with disabilities are seeking a solution. We investigate the bureaucracy behind the delays and explore how one state law could become the model for the rest of the country.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms. More than 5 million Americans use wheelchairs, about the same amount of people as the population of Chicago and Houston combined. For one of those millions of users who need their wheelchair repaired, there's usually not a quick fix.
Wheelchair users across the country say frequent repair delays have left them without the very thing they need to survive.
A Connecticut wheelchair task force has been urging lawmakers to come up with a solution, and as investigative reporter Sam Smink shows us, they were listening.
Using a power wheelchair, it actually gives me more freedom and independence.
For Valerie Ann Rumpf and Gary Gross, their wheelchairs are not just a necessity, they're a lifeline. The two each have cerebral palsy. Gary is also blind.
I need a reliable wheelchair that's going to work.
But wheelchairs aren't always reliable. They break down or require other fixes.
It's actually aggravating, to be honest with you.
Valerie and Gary say it has been hard to find timely repair service.
I had to wait a couple of months for just simple things to get fixed on my chair, like having batteries replaced or having new tires and casters put on.
According to a 2021 study led by University of Pittsburgh researchers, wheelchair repairs affect more than 50% of wheelchair users with significant financial and personal cost. For many, these consequences lasted longer than 2 weeks.
Continue to reach for the sky everywhere.
Paraplegic Corey Lee explained his frustration this way.
We are already asked to have a great deal of patience in life in general, just with our daily activities. and having to have even more patience with wheelchair vendors when, it's our mobility that's at stake. To shorten that gap just means a lot.
In Connecticut, where Corey, Valerie, and Gary live, a state wheelchair task force was formed in 2023 to address these problems.
I know both the consumers and the industry had a whole bunch of questions.
Members explained to lawmakers that only 2 companies repaired wheelchairs in the state. The task force's final report, published in February of 2024, showed that each company had 14 repair technicians that served about 6,500 customers.
Just imagine if you had to wait months for your automobile to be repaired.
And if we get insurance coverage.
Events such as this rally were held at the state capitol, letting wheelchair users and advocates in the Constitution state further their calls for change.
When do we want it? Yesterday!
Lawmakers listened, and in May of 2024, a new law was passed that says repairs must be completed in 10 business days. The law also removes prior authorization requirements, the need for insurance companies to approve repairs before they can be done, something the task force says was a key issue.
You approved me to receive the chair. Why do I need another approval to have the chair that you approved me for to have it repaired?
Wheelchair companies must also provide repair service at home if requested.
Since I don't drive a vehicle, it's actually hard for me to get to where the wheelchair repair place is.
So I would encourage you to look through that.
Beverly Brakeman helped the task force write the report of recommendations to give to the legislature.
It's just remarkable, how badly this world is set up for people who live their lives in wheelchairs. So I hope a takeaway is people get that and have a better understanding of that.
The new law in Connecticut also creates an advisory council that will monitor ongoing issues and continue to make recommendations. Other states are making changes as well. In 2022, Colorado passed a law to allow wheelchair owners access to parts, software, and manuals so they can repair their own chairs. And in Massachusetts, lawmakers have been discussing a bill that requires all wheelchairs to come with a 2-year warranty. Another crucial part of this bill is that dealers must provide a loaner chair or reimbursement for one for most wheelchair repairs within 4 business days. In Hartford, Connecticut, I'm Sam Smink.
The nonprofit Private Equity Stakeholder Project says there's another underlying issue. Its report, published with the National Disability Rights Network, says private equity firms have increasingly bought up wheelchair manufacturers and suppliers and consolidated them. The report claims cost-cutting has been linked to slow response times for repairs.
A cancer diagnosis inspired her to create something beautiful. Coming up, how she found a pathway to healing. Plus, getting a new do can be fun, but it could also save your life. How hairstylists across the country are learning to become one of the first lines of defense in the fight against skin cancer. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime, streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. A trip to your hairstylist could save you from more than a bad hair day. It could also save your life.
That's because more hairdressers and barbers are learning to spot suspicious lesions on their clients' scalps.
Reporter Olivia Vidal shows us how hairdressers are providing a critical heads up in the fight against cancer.
Dyes, cuts, styles.
It's always something interesting going on here.
It's just another busy day at the salon.
We really pride ourselves on guest experience.
At Studio KP, owner Casey Pirelli says her stylists have an eye for detail. And that eye could potentially save lives.
And I think this empowers hairstylists even more.
With the help from a local dermatologist, Studio KP stylists learn how to detect suspicious spots on their clients' scalps.
I mean, we're in their hair. We're the ones who are seeing it, And we see all kinds of things on the scalp and you just don't You don't know what is what until you learn.
This vital skin cancer education
First of all, and we're going to learn, so pull your ABCs and melanoma card out.
comes from a program called Heads Up.
We need to help hairstylists realize that they could be first responders, that they can definitely not diagnose, but see something that they need to recommend that their client go see a dermatologist to be diagnosed.
The program, developed by the Skin Cancer Foundation, provides beauty professionals with tips on what to look for when it comes to potential skin cancers.
The color, was very important, the symmetry, things like that. And then we went over the very basics of the different types of things that you can see.
They also learn how to speak to clients about a suspicious lesion.
I had a client who had a spot on her head, and I was like, hey, I think you should go get this checked out. And yeah, she wound up having to get it removed. So, it can be a lifesaver for some people.
Like Christy W.
It's still cancer. It's scary. Cancer's a big word.
A word she didn't think about growing up, spending lots of time at the beach.
Loved being in the sun, loved, the dark, deep oils and getting a tan. You felt at the time that your skin looked healthier with a suntan. So that was the goal, and minimal sunscreen.
But her love for the sun came with a harsh reality. Over the course of 25 years, W says she battled 3 types of skin cancer, including the most serious, melanoma. And a recent bump on her scalp revealed yet another diagnosis.
Your heart stops, it skips a beat, and then for me, having had so many, it's like, oh, not another one.
Christy believes the spot on her scalp, a basal cell carcinoma, could have been detected sooner had she gone to a trained stylist in between dermatology appointments.
Since hairstylists see their clients every 6 to 8 weeks or so, and dermatologists will only see them every 6 months to a year, most skin lesions, typically I find, change within about a 6-month period. And so they're gonna catch it sooner than we will.
And catching melanoma early is key. If diagnosed early, 98 to 99% of people will survive 5 years after diagnosis. But a late diagnosis can mean a much lower survival rate.
Education's paramount.
Education, one skin cancer awareness program, wants to spread.
I think it just opened our eyes to how important of a role we can play for people. Not that we're doctors, but being able to recognize and direct, hey, just go get it checked out.
In order to give men and women a heads up on their health.
The 2 most common forms of skin cancer found on the scalp are basal cell and squamous cell carcinoma. Both are considered highly curable. Melanoma is less common, but it's the deadliest type of skin cancer. Doctors say about 3% of cases are located on the scalp.
The best way to prevent skin cancer on your scalp is to wear a hat or apply sunscreen on exposed areas. You can find more information on the Heads Up program by going to skincancer.org. An unlikely pathway to hope.
This used to be all weeds and full of trash. So I told them I wanted all the weeds torn up.
After the break, how a woman's cancer diagnosis inspired her to create beauty and a place to escape. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes. Karen Jenkins believes in second chances. In fact, she spent much of her life mentoring prison inmates.
When Karen received a breast cancer diagnosis in 2016, she was inspired to give a dilapidated easement near her house a second chance. Reporter Dave Allgood shows us what she transformed into a blue heaven.
A real bee. Is that a real bee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen Jenkins cherishes her awe moments with her granddaughter Mina.
There's Mina's hands.
Those butterfly wings are Mina's hands. You see, in this quiet Anchorage suburb is a blue heaven. Nestled snugly between Karen's house and a neighbor is a magical pathway that features caterpillars and butterflies, ladybugs and dragonflies, and these.
And then the flowers, I grew by seed.
The blue walls that line this easement that connect the street to an elementary school are the sky, and on this side, it's the ocean with smiling dolphins close to jumping off the fence, and these clownfish lurking around and behind seagrass disguised as ferns.
Did you see my octopus? What? He's hiding.
An orca greets you on the far side, and these majestic sea turtles swimming by as if to say hi. And of course...
And then the honeybees.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Gotta do the honeybees.
It was a few years back in 2016 that Karen got creative because she had to.
I needed something to focus on instead of my cancer and treatment.
We all need a place to get away. Some just need it more.
I discovered it on my own, didn't find it through the mammogram.
Breast cancer. Walking into the unknown.
It was pretty scary.
She just had to do something after treatment.
This used to be all weeds and full of trash. So I told them I wanted all the weeds torn up.
Now bees frequent and pollinate where trash used to collect and dominate.
So this easement is a public easement, and it ties into Cassoon Elementary School.
We never know where our journey may lead, so Karen decided to paint and grow her own pathway. And these little butterflies?
The neighborhood kids, they did their handprints and wrote their names and ages.
Did this help to move on from cancer?
It did, and every summer I try to add more to the fenceway.
Did you catch that? The good news, she's had several post-cancer summers to expand her menagerie.
I'm cancer-free, been in remission for 7 years, so yay for me.
It took a bright vision from a dark place to rejuvenate this ramshackled easement to ease Karen's reminders of cancer.
It just helped.
So this is more than just a fish or just a flower or a butterfly. So much more. It's an evolution.
It just represents life and community and involvement.
Now a stroll through Karen's memory lane is littered with bug and fish bliss.
It's just being outside, enjoying my life.
What a beautiful way to handle something so difficult, and she did a great job.
I mean, what a transformation. When you look at the before to after, really impressive.
Very
Good
nice.
stuff.
Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm T. Chappelle.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Investigate TV Plus, many foster children who age out of the system into young adults struggle to land on their feet.
Who do you lean on when you need help?
Don't have nobody but myself.
We take an in-depth look at what's keeping children in the system too long and one couple's lifelong mission to help foster kids find a future.